What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Rashida, your guide to smart money moves. And today we're gonna dive into a topic that hits so close to home for so many of us. Why millennials and Gen Z are on track to be the poorest generations in modern history. So let's get into it. Just last week, I was catching up with my sister and we were just reminiscing about the days when we would dream of making six figures and what that would mean and how set we'd be and what we could afford and what we could buy. And fast forward to today, we've reached that goal, but we don't feel rich by any means. In fact, we said that we pretty much feel like we're living the same lifestyle we did when we earned half that amount. So if you've ever looked at your bank account and wondered, how in the hell did we get here? Trust me, you are not alone. For decades, the American dream was such a simple picture. You go to college, you work hard, you save your money, and you'd be better off than your parents. But for so many of us, that picture is starting to feel much more like a fantasy. And it's not because we're splurging on avocado toast or we're buying fancy lattes. The numbers tell a much different story. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. You're saying, but wait, I'm earning more than my parents did. And you're right. Like on paper, incomes have been growing, but here's where it gets a little bit tricky. While our paychecks are getting bigger, our purchasing power, what we can actually buy with that money, hasn't kept up. Ask yourself, why am I struggling to pay my student loans when my parents could do it on a minimum wage? Why am I barely affording rent on my shoebox apartment when my parents could go out and buy a house in their early 20s? So what's really going on here? It boils down to a crucial difference between wealth and income. Think of it in this way. Income is what you earn, but wealth is what you own. So while income has been growing for millennials and Gen Z, wealth has actually been shrinking. In fact, today's millennials hold about 40% less than Gen X did at the same age. That's not just a gap, that's a damn chasm. So it's like this. If you take a second to look at your current salary and imagine that salary doubled. I mean, you're great, right? You're good. And it sounds good. But what if at the same time, the cost of everything, rent, food, interest rates, healthcare, what if all of that tripled? Suddenly that bigger paycheck doesn't feel so big anymore, all right? And that's essentially what's happening to our generation. It's just happening in slow motion. So let's break this down into what I like to call the generational wealth trap. It's made up of three different factors that are making it much harder for our generations to build wealth. So first up, let's talk about housing. For the first time in decades, the Home Affordability Index, which basically determines if a median income earner can qualify for a median priced home, has dropped below 100. So in simple terms, if you're earning an average salary, you can't afford an average house. As of today, the median home price in the United States hit a record high of $422,000. All right, that is a 47% increase from where it was in just 2020. So to put that into perspective, if the average home price had risen at the same rate as inflation since 1960, the median home price would only cost $177,000. And so it's no wonder that people are living with their parents and roommates well into adulthood, and it's gone from being a punchline to being a financial necessity for so many young adults. Now let's move on to that unwelcome guest that seems to try to crash every financial party we try to throw. As of 2024, the average millennial has about $125,000 in debt. For Gen Z, it's about $68,000. And the majority of that debt, it's in credit cards and student loans. And speaking of student loans, the total student loan debt in the United States has reached a jaw-dropping $1.75 trillion. That is trillion with a T. And here's another sobering thought. If you started paying off a $50,000 student loan today with a 10-year repayment plan at 5%, you'd be paying $530 a month. That's $6,300 a year. That's money that could be going towards investing, saving, or even a down payment on that home that you can't afford right now. And that brings us to education, that double-edged sword of our generation. We are the most educated generation in history, but we are paying a massive premium for that education that our parents could scarcely imagine. In 1980, the average cost of tuition and fees, room and board, for a year of four-year public college was $2,500. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $8,000 in today's dollars. In 2020, that same year of education cost $27,000, guys. That's more than 3 times as expensive in real terms. And now, before we start pointing our fingers at baby boomers, it's important to understand the significant advantages that no longer exist for younger generations. First, timing. Boomers entered the workforce at an unprecedented economic boom. The post-World War II era saw rapid economic growth, creating countless jobs and raising wages across the board. Second is demographics. Baby boomers made up a huge portion of the population, and that gave them a significant political and economic influence. When they were young, they voted for economic policies that really benefited them: affordable higher education, family support systems, and stronger social safety nets. But then as they aged, their priorities shifted to things like retirement benefits and lower taxes on wealth. And third is education. While more education is generally a very good thing, the fact that 40% of Americans over the age of 25 now have a bachelor's degree compared to 25% of boomers at that similar age has led to some unintended consequences. The more people that have degrees, the less valuable each degree has become in a job market. And that's simply supply and demand. And so I know you guys have got to be asking, what can we do about this? How can we actually navigate these challenges? Well, here are 5 strategies that I think could help. First, we need to rethink housing. Consider housing hacks. That could mean buying a duplex, renting out half of it, or using platforms like Airbnb to rent out a spare room. I have a buddy who bought a 3-bedroom condo, but he rents out 2 of those bedrooms, which covers the cost of his mortgage. So you could get creative. Number 2, let's try to tackle our debt a little bit more strategically. You can use the avalanche method, which basically means paying off your highest interest rate debt first. And as you pay off those debts, you use the money that you're saving, not paying that, to pay off your loans, the rest of your loans. And for student loans, you got to look into income-driven repayment plans. Or even better, if you're in the public service, you need to be looking at loan forgiveness. Guys, you can take advantage of this, which could save you tens of thousands of dollars if you work in a qualifying field. 3, invest in your skills. All right. In this rapidly changing job market, your most valuable asset is going to be your skill set. So look into online courses, certifications that can really boost your earning potential. Platforms like Coursera or edX, they offer courses from top universities and often for free. And number 4, please start investing early. Even if it's just $50 a month, start now. Apps like Robinhood or Acorns make it really easy to start investing with small amounts. And remember that time in the market beats timing the market, so start as soon as humanly possible. Number 5, you got to try to diversify your income. Consider starting a side hustle. This could be freelancing in your field of which you already have those skill sets. It could mean starting a blog, starting a YouTube channel, or selling products online. One of my viewers took her love and passion for beauty and fragrance products, and she turned that into a thriving social media business, and she earns over $200,000 per year from that, guys. There is money out there to be had. You just got to go get it. So guys, I know that it can feel discouraging when you're faced with these challenges, but don't lose hope. Understanding these changes and challenges is going to be the first step towards adapting to them. We need to recognize that the economic landscape has shifted dramatically, and we're playing by a new set of rules, ones that have been written and rewritten by forces completely out of our control. And that's all for today, folks. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out my next video. Let me know in the comments, what financial challenges are you trying to tackle right now? All right, let's start a conversation. We can learn from each other. Until next time, I'm out. See you guys.